Incremental greetings. So what I want to share today is incrementalism as a life philosophy. So you may be exposed to incrementalism because of Supermemo, because you want to use incremental reading. But then you realize that, hey, this incrementalism can go beyond the software, transcends the software, and you can apply this in your day-to-day life as a life philosophy. So let me more or less explain that to you, even though it's quite abstract, and in order to fully understand it, is to just do it yourself. I'll try my best. So basically, you have broader conversations. You discuss on incremental reading often. Discussions on incremental reading often segue into stoicism, self-improvement, and mindful living. To have a purpose in life, all of this. So usually goes for the better. It's a positive vibe. But why using the community this happens? Then you have a dedicated channel because hey, it's not incremental reading per se, right? And this is a recurring thing. Why? Both incremental reading and stoicism highlight our partial control over circumstances, urging continuous measured self-refinement. So there's actually some part that they actually overlap. So quote, it's not just about memorizing knowledge. It's about an approach that sadly betters your whole life. That's the difference of cramming facts and doing what you want. Because then, after time that you accumulate what you were pursuing, is hey, now I have read about diet, nutrition, all of this. Now I feel healthier because I'm healthier. My blood test also tell me I'm healthier, but I also feel better. So it's not just that I will live longer because I'm healthier. Is that I also increase the quality of life because now I acquire knowledge that I can apply. So even if I go to the supermarket, it's no, I'm not going to buy this, not because of what it is, it's because of the additives they add are harmful. And the other is, okay, it's not the best deal, but it's something more organic and it won't harm my health, but it's high on salt, so there's something to take into account. As one example, it can be anything. It can be more into mental health, to have a routine, a healthy routine, and all of this. So usually improves your life. Even though incremental reading is a learning, so you learn whatever you want. You could learn something that deteriorates your quality of life, like I don't know, steroid usage or whatever. Then, parallel to Stoicism, the Stoic principle: focus on what you can control and accept what you cannot. That is the key. Hey, I want to be a parent. So with my partner, we are trying to conceive, to get pregnant, right? But hey, we had a miscarriage. Okay, we focus on what was under our control. The miscarriage, that is natural, is not in our control. And the only thing you can do is accept it and move on. There's nothing you can do. One example. Incremental learning. You control how you learn in small steps, while external demands or complexity remains partially out of your hands. That, hey, I had theoretically all of my career guaranteed until retirement in the academia because I started a PhD, I did different masters, I already had like my position on the university. It's just starting with the lowest tier and just patiently promote until be a tenure, have a tenure, right? Like other people I know, like I was studying and then being a master degree and PhD student was enough that in 7 years I seen someone going with the bottom to the steady state, let's say, not the maximum, but the steady state that yeah, you're guaranteed for life this job already. But I have lost that. It's, oh shoot, now I don't have a stable job. Oh, let me do freelance, but it's very chaotic. I don't have any guarantee I will get a living income at the end of the month. Or now I'm in a startup. There's no guarantee that the startup will succeed, stuff like this. And there are more complexities that you have, I don't know, some restrictions or health issues, something that you cannot do or whatever, that makes it more difficult. Yeah, external demands or complexities. But focus on how, not what, how. You learn in small steps. What's the outcome? It's a calmer, a more methodological approach that yield long-term gains without obsessing over immediate mastery. And this always happens the same thing. Incremental reading, it's aimed at the long term. When we saw the speed reading, it's always incremental reading wins, but only in the long term. So if you now change fields or you are unemployed and you want to look for whatever, it's not going to provide the best results there. That, hey, I need another job next month, right? I don't have the luxury to aim at the long term. Now that means, putting me as an example, I have other skills. Keep in mind I have across my life. I'm 38. Well, 37. This year I will turn 38 with Supermemo, by the way. And I had more than 50 different jobs. Not jobs in different companies, which sometimes are repeated companies in different positions. No, but different jobs. The software developer, librarian, tutor, lecturer, translator, I have 50 different things across my life because, yeah, anything that I can get my hands on. But the long story short is now, with spaced repetition, especially incremental reading, I have intensities of knowledge of what I have chosen to dig further, learn more deeply, but I have a lot of superficial knowledge in many areas. So then that, hey, it's a startup and they need more like software related skills because it's just for people. Okay, no worries. I did computer science as well, but I can intensify on that. But I have the basics. So it will be something that I did more calmer, methodological. I had no pressure to do it. I had no deadlines to do it. And I did more or less what was out of my interest. And then, hey, let me see now what I will do for the community or even for myself are Discord bots. And perhaps I will do it just for pleasure and convenience of myself, but perhaps in the future that will open an opportunity to get a job. You know what I mean. Just focus on what is in your hands, what you can control. So take away, both Stoicism and incremental learning champion steady engagement within your sphere of influence. Feel free to pause because this needs some thinking. Then, small steps, big change. The essence of incremental. Tackle complex tasks. BT memory, habits, or big projects by breaking into small. Divide and conquer. Daily or not, not necessarily daily, can be every 2 weeks, weekly, whatever the frequency. But it's periodic increments. So it doesn't matter how complex it is, you chunk this down. That is still complex, you chunk this down even further. With incrementalism, there's nothing challenging. It's just more time consuming, or let's say that the natural time you will need because of incrementalism will be longer. That's it. Oh, to learn Chinese, that will be hard. No, that will be long. And that's it. Gradual but sure. One usually say that every step is a victory. That victory is very small, but is permanent. You don't undo that victory. So over time, these small actions compound into profound transformations, mirroring how spaced repetition cements knowledge piece by piece. It's incredibly... I have something... Let me do a spoiler of what's coming, as soon as it's coming. So in my case, across my life, because of schooling and coercion, I suffered from being overweight and obesity. Because all of the anxiety was suffering and all of this, I try to kill it by eating. Because when you eat, you have a short window that you feel good, but then it disappears, the sugar rush, let's simplify, and I eat again to have this, and it's a loop cycle, right? And even though I exercised, so I had my years of sedentarism, but even though exercising, I was still increasing the weight. Slower, but still every month I was gaining weight. Even though I was biking miles every day, and even do sports science. So I did hours of exercise every single day. Those years. Then I did something. I'm going wait for the video. But hey, I crave always the comfort food, right? It's like pizza, something like that is very grassy, very fatty, or something that is very sugar intense, like croissant, or for me it was well, let's call it in pastry. And how you can get rid of this habit? Will you believe me if I tell you that my solution was incremental reading? It's just getting information with this, not just by reading, but also YouTube videos, and just seeing what does to your body in the long term, and what it is usually. Because if you go to the lowest stuff in the supermarket, it's closer to poison than food, and more in the US, that the laws are not as restrictive as in the European Union. So imagine what you eat. It's literally poison in a small dose. Just by knowing this, integrating this knowledge little by little, and compare, is hey, let me have farm salmon. Let me have wild salmon. And it's not just the color that is obviously different and the nutrition value, but just the texture, the taste, and so on. Is, oh yeah, I can feel it. It's not something I can do every day because it's overly expensive, but you get my point, that I did this with eggs or other stuff that is more affordable. And yeah, look at the color. They are different. And I have eaten one next to each other. Or I cook both at the same time, together. All of these differences, and hey, I see no value in that. To the point that even if one day I was actually fasting, my girlfriend with me in the car, we went to the McDonald's, and I actually hauled what she ordered, a burger with the fries and the drink. And it's not that, hey, I survived, I challenged, and I combat the temptation to eat that. No, it was a victory, because I have never felt the temptation to eat that shit, that poison. That's the massive victory. I wanted to include this because it's a very good point, and it's something that changes your habits, your perspectives. Even if I have eaten that shit thousands of times in my life, knowledge-based, I can override that to the point that my brain says, that's not tasty, that's not good, I don't want that. Someone will have to point a gun on my head to eat that shit. It's at this level. It's actually disgusting when I see it. Disgusting. I cannot believe I was enjoying that shit. Then, quote, a single, well-timed review or a small adjustment daily might seem trivial, but the cumulative effect is huge. And this can be anything. For instance, you don't know about art or art styles. You have several images of paintings or sculpture, whatever art you want. Hey, this is style. It's okay. Some repetitions of this won't change anything. But with time, you could see anything that is novel for you. It's the very first time you see that piece of art, and it's this style. Just to name one example. So one with food, with anything. Can be behavior. So something is. I'm not going to explain it now, just to mention it, because it's very complex and hard to transmit. This is also with behavioral. Again, because I suffered a lot in the school, I was very antisocial when I was a kid. So you have to learn something that usually you do it sooner. I do it much later in life. And yeah, it's how to behave and how to interact with people. The small talk, how you can perceive the vibe of the other person, stuff like that, with incremental reading or spaced repetition. Just those tiny things. And based on trial and error, you learn, you take notes, let's say, and then with this, hey, let me search for this. Or you are informed. If I go back to the exercise, it's okay, I'm obese, what I can do? Hey, swimming is a good choice because of the joints. I don't have to support all of my body weight. So running won't be a good idea, especially if I'm not fit. But yeah, if I go swimming to the swimming pool, yeah, they have chlorine. They have side effects, right? So it's not always positive. So I know I'm aware of the trade-offs, or I will have make some decisions that, oh, I will do it every day, but let me simplify and do 3 or 4 times a week because of the exposure to the chlorine or stuff like this. I don't want to expand more. But it's because small steps. Oh, now that you do this, So it's basically you have questions, you ask that, you can ask now AI, and put it on Supermemo, or read articles that will write about that, and iterate. And those little iterations, then, you have a huge repertoire of knowledge. First, factual knowledge that is true for everyone, and then anecdotal evidence of what worked for you, what doesn't work for you, or doesn't work as good, or is just your preference. That, oh yeah, perhaps it's even better, but for me it's painfully boring. For me this works best. And you reach a point of a big change. Big change, big time. But with smaller steps. Then, adaptability over perfection. You have partial control. We have said first, you need to only worry about what you can control, and then be stoic with what you cannot control. So life and productivity demands flexibility. Easy to say. Incremental reading, similarly, accommodates shifts in priorities or new interests. So basically, you can shift. Let's say the incremental reading is also flexible. There's some delay, obviously. But if it's a change of careers, or you stop, so you basically retire and you only do what you want, you don't have anything to do for your job, or you change to a country, so you need to change not the subjects of what you learn, but the language, so the jargon and all of that, anything. Or I don't know, shit hits, and now you cannot afford a computer, so you're restricted by the hardware. So your flow has to be adapted, any flexibility. Reduce the stress. Accepting partial control allows you to adapt as needed, rather than struggling for total mastery or finishing everything at once. Do whatever you can within everything you want. Don't aim at the optimal, because then you will be an slave. No. Today I have to do that many repetitions. It is the optimal thing to do today. Yeah, for the machine. But for mental health, perhaps it's not the optimal. Or for your sleep pattern, that perhaps it will cause sleep deprivation cycles if you do that optimal thing. So that means that it will be optimal today, but suboptimal tomorrow and a few days, because you will be sleep deprived, if you know what I mean. But this is under your control. At any time, you can say, nope, that's the last repetition I do. Even if I have more outstanding. It's under your control. And this reduces the stress at the end of the day. Doesn't delete, annihilate, reduces the stress. When reality changes your path, incremental methods let you pivot without discarding progress. Exactly. For instance, I started with physical exercise, biomedicine, physiology, and then biomedicine. So I niche it down and open it again at the scope, more or less, because I kind of transition to a different field. And now I don't do anything of that because I have moved on from my PhD track. But I still have some knowledge, and I still do read something on that field. And at some degree, it's something I can apply. So for instance, when I want to lose weight, I know a lot already about this. Then, habit building and systems. Learning tools of microcosm, like a micro body. The same incremental approach used for reading, incremental reading, can apply to any habit. Exercise, budgeting, languages, and whatever. Now I pay more attention to the power bill, how much electricity I'm actually spending, and why is so much that usually before I never cared because I just paid, right? It's within my budget. But now if I am in a tight budget, let me try to save, but now I'm clueless. What do I have that consumes that much, right? You do this incrementally. Or language, as I mentioned before in the video, or languages. It's not that now I will stop what I'm doing and my daily life will be just learning that language. It's not. You incorporate this as some part of your life, not the entire thing. And then you eat iterative refinement instead of drastic overhauls. Like now everything is in Chinese, all of my software, the phone, or whatever. It's no. You tweak the routine step by step, incrementally, letting changes settle before learning more. For instance, I started using English for my computers and any device in 2008. But I already had some knowledge. It's not that, hey, I'm starting from scratch already. But I was still speaking Spanish. It was just I was passively reading English. So it has been iterative. Oh, now let me do spaced repetition with vocabulary. Oh, now that I know vocabulary, now I realized I don't know how to put that in a sentence. Let me focus on grammar. Oh, now that I know how to speak, how to do it, now let me write some pieces of text. Cool. And then, hey, let me actually speak this out loud because the pronunciation was never a focus. Bam, bam, bam. So it's not the best thing I did, by the way. So that approach was very suboptimal, but at least I had some increments. Then I did the switch. I don't know which year it was. I can guarantee it was not later than 2014, but sooner than 2017. So among that window, I started changing. Is from now on, the flashcards I will do will be in English already. And everything I read, all of the sources will be in English. And the knowledge formulation will be in English. And then you see me in this channel in 2020 that everything is in English. Even my speaking is in English. So it has been an iterative refinement, not a drastic overhaul. Imagine that in that year, it's not that just I read in English, it's that I only speak English at home and stuff like that. That will be very, very problematic and stressful. Takeaway. By applying incremental ideas to your daily habits, you build resilient systems that evolve, rather than failing under big leaps. It's like the tiny habits. If you just do tiny little increments, you start very easy, so it's easy to keep the habit. And very slowly you add more complexity or duration or whatever. It will be a lot easier to keep that habit. And the power of incremental reading is to the point that you are not even, some of them, you're not even conscious. It's a consequence of your acquired knowledge. Like I said at the beginning of the video, that then you say, it's not that you say, my brain tells me this is nasty. I don't like even the aroma of that food. Wow, I had to rewire something in my brain. It's not that, hey, I still like it. I like the aroma and the taste, but it's my conscious that is overriding. No, I should not eat this because then I will need to go to the hospital because I'm allergic to that, or because I will gain weight or whatever. It's not that case. Is that I generally have a different somatic or physiologic response. That's super powerful. And the opposite is true. That, oh my God, I need to go to the gym. What a pain in the ass. I'm not in the mood. And also because I don't have a driver license, I go by foot. So I need 40 minutes. I'm more than 40 minutes to go and back. So it's usually 2020. Not like this because it's only downhill and then uphill after. So it's quicker to go than to come back. It's, oh my God, I don't want to, right? I have to force myself. But now I'm to the point, and I will skip the details, that once I go to the pool, because for me the massive thing in the gym is the swimming pool, and after 20, 30 minutes that I achieve the steady state, yeah, I know I'm quite low for that. I feel like I could go there forever. Da, 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 da. And now I don't want to stop. And sometimes, because I went quite late, it's oh shit, they are closing the doors. So I'm forced to stop my workout because they need to close down. That, oh shoot, I really wanted to continue. Is what? From I don't want to go to the gym or to the swimming pool to the I don't want to stop the workout. Can you tell how many time there is in between? About 5 years in between. In just 5 years, you can go to the pole opposite. How? Incrementalism. Not incremental reading necessarily, but applying the incrementalism. Remember, incremental ideas to daily habits, you build resilient systems that evolve rather than fail. So first, the key is that it's evolving. Today I'm shooting this video. That means even when I get older, because of accumulated experience, this has been even evolved, been more refined, and include other areas that today I'm missing, and resilient to other aspect. One good example quite recently is, yeah, you know that in Okinawa the life expectancy is a blue zone, so the life expectancy was beyond a century. People lived a lot, they were very healthy, and they attributed this to their diet mainly. And diet was plant-based, right? I know that makes sense because of the okay, to simplify. And then you realize that, wait, that was only true on the 40s. Because of the war, stuff like that, they adapted almost vegan diet, or close to vegan diet, because of the situation after the war. But turns out that their culture and the cuisine includes a lot of pork, to my surprise. Like almost every single part of the pork they use and eat. And they may think, how come they can live so long if they are so based on meat? They also eat vegetables and stuff like that. It's not that I'm saying that it's a carnivore diet, but they include massive portions of meat. So it's very frequent. I could even tell you that it's almost every single day you eat meat at some degree. This has now challenged my beliefs, because I was eating a plant-based diet for conviction, for health. I know is that, so I'm aware that let's say salmon is healthy, but not today, because the pollution is so high in the ocean that this animal is absorbing all of the harmful chemicals. This is what doesn't make it healthy. And I don't have access or the budget to buy wild salmon, which at some degree will still have some toxins, because there's no place in Earth that is not polluted now. Not the farmed salmon, which is crap. There's nothing in comparison. So I made my decision based on health. But then it's, something, that was a pillar of my belief. Oops, that was wrong. I had more sources, right? I had redundancy of beliefs, let's say. But and now if I do fasting, water fasting or intermittent fasting for weight loss, and I want to eat a lot of protein, almost just protein to keep the muscle loss to the minimum, I need to eat sources that are just protein with little fat and protein based and plant based. You need to go to the chemicals, to the protein powders, stuff like that, of peanuts, IPs, whatever. Not whole foods. But the quality is not the same, and then I end up, hey, what if I do animal now? And stuff like that. I don't want to extend further. I will have a video series about this, genuine incremental reading for this contradiction of information. Then, relevance to life changes. Complex problems, like stoicism. Incrementalism says tackle challenges patiently, acknowledging time and consistent effort. Some issues can have one decision. It could be solved with a phone call, as easy as that. Hey, it's been very long that I don't see that person or my parents or whatever. You do a phone call, and hey, let's meet that day. And you meet that day. Solved. But hey, I want to lose weight. And in my case, I want to lose 50 kilos. That would be overall. That will be 110 pounds. Yeah, I can make this decision overnight, but I cannot solve the problem overnight. I will need like, I don't know, half a year to do it healthily, and so on. So it's acknowledging the time, it's consistent effort, it's every single day. It's not just exercising, it's just also the diet. But the diet, if you want to do it well, you want whole foods, not processed foods. That also implies cooking, that I was not cooking before. Then this implies learning how to cook properly, or if you already know, just spending the extra time cooking. That now I need to take out time of Supermemo for cooking. Even though most of what I eat is raw, all of the salad, stuff like that, everything is raw, but hey, I still have to clean, I still need to cut. It's some of the time invested that I was not doing before. And then create the habit. Because for me still is, oh man, okay, let's do it. Eventually it will become a habit. Like stoicism. Taking the challenges patiently. Sometimes I did the cliche of the New Year resolutions, and I felt at the end of the year not true. I didn't fail, I didn't complete it, but I'm in the middle. I'm incrementally getting there. It's the same example as a book. Hey, I bought the book this year. I didn't finish it, but I have read 80% of the book, because then it's the missing returns already. And could be the case that I don't ever finish it. Or let's say, to simplify in this case, I will finish it next year. That doesn't mean I did nothing. I didn't complete the criteria to complete the task or the goal. But I have done some progress already. And sometimes I did something for 2023. Now, let's do this, and I did it into next year, or after 2 years. It just took longer, because I did incrementalism. That's it. That doesn't mean that you're doing nothing. Emotional or practical hurdles. Breaking them into manageable tasks mirror the spaced repetition concept in personal development. Yep. If it's a habit, and I don't know, to brush or to keep your home clean or whatever, you can ask this question every day or every Sunday, let's say. I do something every Sunday, and it's like a mirror space repetition. That, hey, it's Sunday, let me go to the scale. Regardless, sometimes I even gain weight, but okay, it's because it's water weight, It's because it's actually muscle mass that I got because I exercised. I started swimming, so I involved the upper trunk. So that I didn't lost weight doesn't mean I didn't lost fat. It's not the same thing. Knowledge is what makes the difference. If you know to distinguish this and reason what's happening. And then if I didn't, it's oh wow, I know it's because I had a deadline in my job. Okay, it is what it is. I have to neglect some personal matters, or I have been ill 3 days, or it was in vacation. So in those days doesn't count, right? But this is systematic. It's like I do repetitions, and sometimes then the closer you are to the goal, the repetitions are actually spaced. Now I don't need the frequency of a week and to reflect. Now it's just every 2 weeks or every month. And that's it. It's more or less going to the repetition, space repetition in the concept of personal development. If you remember, incremental reading, even if it's not your intention, it will go to the segue of stoicism and self-improvement and mindful living. Even if it's not your priority, at some degree it will happen eventually. Because you discard the bad knowledge to the good knowledge and applicable knowledge. And who wants to apply a bad living? That you will have lower quality of life and even shorter life expectancy. Who wants that? Then, personal freedom. You have a sense of control. Even if it's only partial, it's only what is in your hands, you have a sense of control. Knowing you can schedule or chunk tasks fosters a feeling of autonomy. It is like to my girlfriend that sometimes it doesn't land well because she's not in the niche. She doesn't understand incremental reading, even if I tried. She needs to be open. A person needs to be open, or there's nothing you can do. And sometimes my comments, let's say, that sound like borderline arrogant. When I say I didn't do it now, I'm honest. I don't have the because I forgot. I don't have the habit, but I will get there. It's just a matter of time. I know I will succeed. It's just in the future, not now. I need incrementalism. Like taking this for granted is what sounds arrogant. Then, resilience. By methodically building skills and knowledge, you're better prepared for sudden demands or life shifts of whatever can be. Who would have told me that I will lose a guaranteed job for the rest of my life? It's a big deal. Who would have told me that I will have no chair at home? Oh shit, and now I have to live with this. It was my own decision, by the way, this last. But something like this, that, and now someone loved dies, passes away. Oh shoot, it was too soon. I imagined at least 2 decades more of friendship. Oh shoot, now I have to see parallel reality where I'm without that person. The skills and the knowledge help with this. I cannot know how much I can attribute this to what I have learned and what is just by aging. That because repetition, so it is what it is. So the older you get, the more likely you have experienced deaths of other people. Other people have passed away. Not necessarily, usually older than you, but also including younger than you, which is a different feeling. That's why, among other things, I learned, you know how this is going to last. Enjoy while you have it. You're not going to know when it's going to end, and sometimes it ends quite a lot sooner than expected. And what happens it's no hard feelings in this sense. I don't know how to call it. So it's like instead of having all of the happiness in at once, you are so incrementalist that you just have doses, daily dose. That okay, now I don't have to daily dose, but I don't need the entire thing. Wow. You know what I mean? Hard to explain. That's why I feel it, I acknowledge it, but it doesn't impact me as much as before. To my surprise. That, wow, I feel like an stoic. And hey, it now makes sense, right? Of what we started with. That, oh wow, I have lived after years of pursuing. I will skip details. Years, at least 2 years of trying. Finally, we got pregnant, and then I experienced miscarriage. It was shocking, obviously, but not out of my control. So, acknowledging that it's out of your control is less stressful, easier to cope with. Incrementalism. I don't know how to call it. I don't know how to express it better, but you need to do it. Tip. Incremental steps can be buffer against chaos. A way to keep moving forward no matter the external turmoil. A good example. I become jobless. I had no much savings because my full-time job was working for free. As a PhD student, I was not getting paid. And then it's okay, I don't have enough, so I will get my hands on whatever I find, even if I don't like it, to just enter into surviving mode. I need money at the end of the day. I have stuff to pay. But I realized something. I was still doing my free learning every single day. And quite a lot, like 3 hours or 4 hours a day. Because I didn't have a full-time job, basically. I could afford it. But I realized my situation now is worse than ever. That sometimes I cannot eat. Sometimes I need some days so I can draw back the money and go to grocery shopping. Whatever that is. That there's no food in the fridge. I need to wait to get paid. I went so hard that sometimes I run out of toilet paper and I have cents on me. I cannot buy toilet paper. I need to wait. It was temporary. But oh shit, it was enough that I experienced that hard time. But I was super happy in this sense. Happier than ever. Because it was in 2020. And it was when I discovered self-directed learning and free learning. And I was hooked. So even for the external turmoil was harder. And then a lot of troubles with my relationship. Because I don't have money. What we're going to go or to do. I was basically holding with her salary and so on. Then it's just not just the economic instability. Now it's the relationship instability, and at some degree as well the health, because I'm not eating good stuff, enough stuff or enough protein, just eating rice or potatoes most of the days to get the cheapest stuff, if you know what I mean. But wow, it was so good that I'm aware of my situation. It's crap, and I should make a change. But I was sleeping well every night because I was learning for myself. And what's good is that I used incremental learning to solve that issue myself. Oh, let me do freelancing. Oh, no one is hiring me. Why? Hey, let me try this, let me try that. I self-directed my path. And then I started my tutoring. This increased the income. Oh, then tutoring with this, a job like this. I also had one job that I didn't earn any single money. And it was not until 4 years that I started to get paid for that job in the Discord community. And then I started to make a living, that it's good enough to make a living, but it's not guaranteed because I depend every single month to have customers. And some month was pretty good, and then the next month was, oops, below average. I need to save, have savings, stuff like that. I'm not going to speak any further about my case, but just to let you know that what I say is not because I know it, it's because I have experienced it in my life. I have even slept in the street, in an airport, because I had no money. And I was doing a speech for the PhD. The university didn't pay anything. I had nothing, so I will sleep there. Another thing, there were 5 days, and on the 5 days I ate nothing. I need water fasting because I could not afford even a meal, not even anything in the supermarket. So I reached rock bottom, and now will be the opposite. The opposite. Now I don't, to the point that I don't need to worry. I still have some months that I have red numbers, but it's not something that, still I have some savings. It's not a big deal. I will have some cushioning to solve the problem. But the point is that I have experienced this on my own skin. So believe me when I say most stuff, even if sometimes I actually skip the details. Then, example of incrementalism in action. Can be just 15 minutes, something very small. Breaking large goals, new language, how to make friends. Doesn't have to be that academic oriented or knowledge oriented. Can be something more pragmatic, or to have a healthy relationship, a romantic relationship. Then you've done break these into small daily tasks, applying stock ideas, focusing on the process, not the outcome. Because in incremental reading, whoever stays using incremental reading in the long run is because they enjoy the process. Weight loss, you will enjoy the process, or it's short enough that you can actually do it for willpower only. But if it's 6 months, it will be really likely that if you don't enjoy the process, you will give up eventually. You will lose weight, but not all of the weight you wanted, or not in the way you want it, because you have escaped, exercising, and you had a more severe muscle loss, not just fat loss, for instance. So what's the result? Over weeks, months, even years, if you will, big transformation happen, but generally without burnouts. It just happened. Takeaway. A stress-free routine that steadily expands knowledge and fosters self-improvement, practical stoicism in motion. Even if you don't want stoicism, or you don't even read about stoicism, you will have this parallel that you focus on what is under your control. Because if you want to focus on what's not under your control, it's just frustration, impotence, that you will not get anything there. So conclusion, incrementalism is more than a learning method. The method is incremental reading or learning. Incrementalism goes beyond that. It's a life philosophy, akin to Stoicism's measured, patient approach, focused on the long term. The key message is that when you embrace slow, consistent efforts, be it in Supermemo or in daily habits, can be just with a to-do list app, as simple as this. Doesn't have to be Supermemo. You forge a calm, adaptable path toward mastery and well-rounded living, always for the better. Could be the case that now I'm becoming full circle because I introduced eggs once again in my diet and perhaps more animal foods. That, oh shoot, I'm doing the same I was doing in 2011 after one whole year of super strict veganism in 2010. Could be the case that I do the same. Let's simplify that I do the same diet, but now I'm convinced of what I'm doing. I don't feel guilty. I eat an egg because it's an animal product. But based on the requirements that I have of calorie restrictions, I having fasting for more than 18 hours, that will be best than some fruit instead. And if I want to continue then working out, I still fasted because I will eat after the workout. And a very concrete example, but it's more recent for mine. But I didn't reach this next year. So imagine, I'm saying 2010. It's been 15 years. So sometimes some conclusions are in the very long term. But I feel more calm, I feel less anxious, because now I have more knowledge than before. And when I do it for a purpose. Could be the case that I'm still wrong. I will correct later. But for now, I'm doing the best thing possible. And I did almost tried everything. Fasting, intermittent fasting, 5 meals a day. And I do believe that fasting is the way to go. Like how we lived years ago, we haven't evolved for the mainstream diet pattern. I do believe that. But it's not that I believe, it's that I put it into practice. And sometimes, even up to a full year of veganism, that's going for the long term. I know the video has been longer. I wanted to include very explicit examples of mine, so it's not that abstract, and you get what I mean. Please let me know. If you succeeded, you're in the middle, you want to succeed on this, you're lost, you don't know how to start. So it will be more like incremental life coaching in this sense. It's about incrementalism, not incremental reading, which can be used, but it's not a requirement. You can do incrementalism without incremental reading. Contact me to get some help with me. That's all for now, and as always, see you incrementally.